The illusion of pleasure. As long as you stick with the belief that smoking gives you some sort of pleasure or crutch, you will not be able to free yourself from the nicotine trap. It's essential then for me to begin the day by making sure you fully understand that any pleasure you think you get from smoking is an illusion. I'm going to make a powerful statement. You haven't enjoyed a single cigarette or e-cigarette you've ever smoked. Now, don't get me wrong, there's no doubt that you've enjoyed tremendous relief when lighting a cigarette after a long period of time without one. After a long flight, train, journey, or an attempt to quit, yet that feeling of enjoyment and relief is nothing more than the feeling you'd get if you wore shoes that were a size too small all day. It would feel fabulous when you took them off, but would you do that? Of course not. We go out of our way to select our shoes carefully so they fit just right. You owe nicotine absolutely nothing. No more than you'd be grateful to the thief who stole $100 from you and gifted you $10. Once you've discovered the con, you'd never be grateful to the thief again. Pleasure or crutch? It is widely assumed by smokers and non-smokers alike that the effect of smoking must deliver something positive, otherwise why would people keep doing it? We all know the dangers of smoking. Nobody is trying to deny that it is the world's #1 killer, a major cause of cancer, heart disease, and emphysema. In addition to the asthma, coughing, wheezing, lack of stamina, and numerous other ailments that smokers and vapors put up with in order to keep getting their fix, so the assumption is that there must be something pretty special about it to make smokers disregard all these negatives and carry on spending vast amounts of money on cigarettes. The perceived pleasure of smoking lies in the way a cigarette seems to enhance social occasions, make drinks more enjoyable, round off a meal, or just put the finishing touch to a relaxing, satisfying moment. The perceived crutch lies in the cigarette's ability to help you relax, take your mind off the stresses of life, and concentrate. In fact, all these perceived pleasures and crutches are illusory. Cigarettes, e-cigarettes, dip, and in fact, any nicotine product actually do nothing of the sort. On the contrary, they are antisocial. They ruin the taste of meals and drinks. They make a relaxing situation feel edgy. They add to your stress, and they destroy your concentration. You only have to observe how embarrassed most vapors are when using their devices. It only becomes less embarrassing when they are in the company of other addicts. That's why smokers and vapors seem to have that camaraderie at parties. It's a case of, thank goodness I'm not the only one here. But let's examine the claim that smoking or vaping can help you to take your mind off things at times of stress and help you concentrate. At a time when you're required to focus, think about it. How can the same drug take your mind off things and help you concentrate at the same time? The same person who claims that smoking distracts their mind in a stressful situation will, in the next breath, also claim that it provides no distraction whatsoever when it comes to concentration. In fact, they claim it helps them to do so. If you haven't immediately grasped the contradictory nature of those two claims, then please read the last 2 paragraphs again before moving on, or rewind. There is no genuine pleasure or crutch to be derived from smoking or vaping. We only think there is because of the brainwashing and the way the nicotine trap twists our perception. The fact is, our addiction to nicotine makes us incapable of doing anything without a cigarette before, during, or after a stressful or focus requiring event. It's like that neighbor's burglar alarm that goes off for hours and the feeling of relief when it finally stops. That is the only reason you believe that nicotine helps you to focus. You are removing the aggravation of wanting a cigarette by having a cigarette. And the only reason you believe it helps you cope with stress, you constantly have the aggravation of wanting a cigarette, and if you can't have a cigarette, it actually adds to your level of stress. Am I really expecting you to believe that nobody ever enjoyed a single cigarette? It seems too far-fetched. How could anyone create an illusion on such a massive scale? It's all to do with every smoker's reluctance to admit to their misery. Instead of admitting to being a helpless slave, they choose to perpetuate the myth that smoking gives them some kind of pleasure or crutch. There's no need for putting a brave face on it in this boot camp. You're in it together with all the smokers on the planet, but you can admit the truth here. Smoking does nothing for you whatsoever. Although I expect you're beginning to understand exactly what I mean, please don't worry if you require further evidence. Every doubt, every question on your mind at this point will be covered before I ask you to smoke your final cigarette, e-cigarette, or take nicotine in whatever form it is that you're addicted to. So let's examine those illusions and make sure we can see through them. I hope I don't take too long. You know what? I'm going to do this in the next part.